You are already here, even before you realize you have arrived. Your body settles without instruction, finding the shape of rest the way water finds the lowest place. Nothing asks anything of you. The ground beneath you waits, steady and quiet, holding you without effort. You breathe in and the breath arrives easily. You breathe out and the world does not change. That is how you know you are safe. Imagine gently that the floor beneath you is not an object, but a presence. Not a surface, but a companion. It does not move quickly. It does not need to. The earth beneath you is very old and very patient, and tonight it is resting with you. If you listen closely, past the distant hum of the room, past the soft ringing of silence, you might sense a deeper rhythm. A rhythm so slow it barely feels like motion at all. The earth breathes, not like lungs, not like effort, but like a sleeper whose chest rises and falls across long, dreaming hours. You are lying on that breath. This planet is not rigid or frozen. It is layered, warm in places, cool in others, always adjusting, always finding balance. Beneath the thin skin of soil and stone, vast sections of earth rest together like enormous, overlapping blankets. These are tectonic plates, though the name sounds far more serious than they feel right now. Tonight, they are not crashing or colliding. They are simply there, resting. Each plate is unimaginably large, yet they move with the patience of something that has nowhere else to be. They float, in a way, on deeper warmth below, the way a sleeping body floats on a mattress, supported from beneath. There is pressure, yes, but it is gentle pressure spread across time instead of moments. You do not feel it because it is not meant to be felt. The earth learned long ago that slow movement is the kindest kind. It shifts the way you adjust in sleep, rolling slightly to ease a shoulder, nudging a leg to release a thought. No alarms, no announcements, just motion stretched so thin it becomes calm. As you rest here, imagine the plates beneath you like ribs under skin. Strong, protective, capable of movement without noise. They support everything above them without asking to be noticed. A thankless job, really, but someone has to do it. The plates do not complain. They simply continue. Time for the earth does not hurry. Seconds do not mean much. Even years are brief blinks. The movements that shape mountains and oceans happen the way dreams happen. Gradually, quietly, often without memory of when they began. You are part of that patience now. The warmth you feel beneath you is not imagined. Deep inside the planet, heat remains from Earth's long formation, a soft internal glow that never quite fades. It is not burning or raging. It is simply there, like the warmth of a body under blankets. That warmth allows motion, not fast motion, possible motion. So the plates rest and they glide and sometimes they pause. Pausing is important. Pausing allows things to hold together. If everything moved all the time, nothing could settle. You understand this. Your own body knows the value of stillness. When you hold one position too long, tension builds quietly. Not pain yet, just awareness. A subtle whisper asking for change. The earth experiences something similar, though on a scale that makes whispers feel like continents. Pressure gathers gently, like weight distributed across a long breath. Nothing snaps. Nothing breaks. At least not yet. Tonight is about rest, not release. So you lie here, supported by a planet that has been supporting things for a very long time. Forests, oceans. Creatures that walked, swam, crawled, and dreamed long before you. The earth remembers them all, though not the way you remember. It remembers in shape, in layers, in quiet adjustments. There is something comforting about that. You do not have to remember everything yourself. The ground holds memory for you. As your breathing slows, you may notice a sense of weight spreading evenly through your body. Your back, your hips, your shoulders. You are not pressing down. You are being held up. The plates beneath you do the same for the crust above them. They carry continents without strain. The way sleep carries you through the night without effort. Occasionally, a plate shifts just a little more than usual. Not enough to disturb the dream, just enough to stay comfortable. These movements pass unnoticed, like you adjusting your blanket without waking. The earth is very good at this. It has had practice. Nothing about this moment is dramatic. Nothing needs your attention. The planet does not ask you to watch it breathe. It simply continues whether you notice or not. And yet, here you are noticing. There is a quiet intimacy in realizing you are resting on something alive. Not alive like you are alive. Alive in its own slow, steady way. As the chapter draws to a close, your breath matches the imagined breath beneath you. In long unrushed, somewhere deep below, plates continue their patient rest. Tension, if it exists, is only a possibility, not a problem. For now, everything is held. Your breath slows, and you begin to notice subtle movement beneath the calm. You drift a little deeper now without moving at all. The stillness from before does not disappear. It widens. It feels spacious, like a room with the lights dimmed just enough. Your breath remains slow. The ground remains steady. Beneath you, the earth continues its patient rest, and you begin to sense something new. Not motion this time, but memory. Stone remembers. Not in images or stories, not in dates or names, but in shape and pressure and quiet endurance. Rocks do not forget what they have carried. They simply hold it differently over time. Imagine placing your hand gently on a table that has been there for generations. It does not react. It does not respond. And yet, it contains every moment it has supported. The Earth's crust is like that, only deeper, older, slower. Layer upon layer settles, each one resting on the last. Like pages in a book no one rushes to finish. These layers are not rushed. They are not eager. They are content to wait. Pressure builds here the way tiredness builds at the end of a long day. Quietly, without announcement. First, it feels like nothing at all. You understand this feeling. Your shoulders know it. So does your jaw. The earth feels it too, spread across stone instead of muscle. Weight accumulates, not as strain but as history. Long ago movements leave gentle impressions. The way sleep leaves creases in sheets. They fade slowly, but never completely. Nothing is erased. Everything is softened. Faults live here, threading through the crust like old seams in well-worn fabric. They are not tears. They are places where movement has happened before and may happen again. The earth remembers where it has bent. Seams are not weaknesses. They are agreements. When fabric moves, it folds where it knows how. When the earth shifts, it does the same. These fault lines rest quietly most of the time. They do not glow or rumble or warn. They simply exist, patient and flexible, holding space for motion without demanding it. You rest with them now. The weight above presses down gently. Continents, mountains, oceans, all carried without complaint. Stone does not hurry under pressure. It adapts. Deep below, warmth softens rigidity, allowing rock to behave less like glass and more like memory foam. Slowly, so slowly that urgency never enters the picture. You are not lying on something brittle. You are lying on something practiced. Time flows differently here. Moments stretch. Years blur. Pressure that would feel unbearable in a body becomes manageable when spread across ages. The earth learned this long before you arrived. As you breathe in, imagine weight being shared. Not removed, not escaped, simply distributed more kindly. As you breathe out, imagine the comfort of knowing nothing must happen right now. Rocks hold stress the way stories hold meaning. Not always visible, always present. Sometimes layers settle unevenly the way memories do. Some press closer together. Some leave space. All of it becomes part of the structure. There is no panic in this process, only patience. You may notice how reassuring that feels. To know that pressure does not demand immediate release. That holding is allowed. The earth is very good at holding. Even when stress builds along a fault, it does so quietly, like breath paused between inhale and exhale. Nothing forces the moment. Nothing rushes the decision. This pause can last longer than imagination likes to measure. But the earth does not mind. It has learned that waiting is not the same as danger. You rest in that idea now. Holding is not failure. Holding is simply part of balance. Your body knows this too. You hold yourself upright without thinking. You hold warmth. You hold breath when turning in sleep. The planet mirrors you in this gentle way. Stone remembers because it must. Because remembering is how structure remains intact. Because forgetting everything would make stability impossible. So the earth keeps its memories close, pressed gently into its layers. Movements from long ago remain present, not as threats, but as guides. There is comfort in knowing that nothing beneath you is surprised. Every pressure has been felt before in some form. Every shift has a precedent. Every seam exists because it has already proven useful. You are safe resting on something so experienced. As this chapter softens toward its close, you feel the sense of holding grow fuller. Not tense, just complete. The earth continues to remember quietly beneath you. Pressure rests where it is, for now. And somewhere within that long memory, a question waits. What happens when holding becomes too full to remain still? You remain exactly where you are, and yet the sense of motion deepens. Not fast motion, not sudden motion, just the feeling that nothing beneath you is frozen. The earth continues its slow breathing, and now you notice how that breath carries movement sideways as well as up and down. A subtle glide, patient drift. Tectonic plates do not behave like crashing objects. They behave like dancers who know the floor by heart. They slide past one another with familiarity, guided by boundaries learned long ago. There is no rush in their movement. There is no surprise. You picture them now, vast and heavy, yet somehow graceful. They move the way clouds move when watched long enough. At first, they seem still. Then you realize they have traveled farther than expected. This is how Earth reshapes itself. Not through impact, but through persistence. The plates touch, lean, separate, and drift again. Some move alongside each other. Some gently pull away. Some slowly press together, like hands meeting in a long-held stretch. Nothing slams. Nothing shatters. Deep warmth below allows this movement, softening stone until it behaves less like resistance and more like flow. Rock, given enough time, learns to move. You breathe in. You breathe out. The earth mirrors you. These plates have been dancing for so long that the steps feel instinctive. They follow invisible lines written into the planet's surface, paths worn smooth by repetition. Each glide leaves a trace. Each trace makes the next movement easier. This is why motion does not always announce itself. It does not need to. You rest with the image of dancers moving in a dim room, guided by memory rather than sight. They do not bump into one another because they are listening closely. The earth listens to itself in much the same way. Movement is constant here. It never fully stops. Even when nothing seems to happen, something is adjusting. That thought feels reassuring. Nothing is stuck forever. As plates slide, they carry continents, oceans, mountains, and you. All of it moves together quietly without complaint. You are not being shaken. You are being carried. Sometimes, though, dancers pause. Not because something has gone wrong, but because pauses belong to movement. A held position can feel just as meaningful as motion itself. The earth pauses too. Along certain boundaries, friction gently presses back. Not forcefully, just enough to slow things down. The glide becomes a rest. You know this sensation. You pause mid-stretch because it feels good. Because holding allows awareness to spread. The earth does the same. When plates pause, motion does not disappear. It waits. Energy gathers quietly, like breath held at the top of an inhale. This is not tension yet. It is potential. The earth is very comfortable with potential. It does not hurry it along. It allows it to exist without judgment. You feel that allowance now. The permission to pause without anxiety. The dancers remain connected, even while still. They feel each other's presence through the floor, through shared pressure. Nothing is lost during the pause. If anything, awareness deepens. Beneath you, plates remain in contact, edges resting together like palms touching gently. Weight presses evenly. Warmth keeps everything flexible. The pause lasts as long as it needs to. Time stretches again, becoming wide and forgiving. Minutes feel irrelevant. So do years. You sense how much patience lives inside this system. Nothing demands immediate release. Nothing insists on certainty. The earth is content to hold a question without answering it. As you breathe, you notice how your own body mirrors this dance. Your chest rises, pauses briefly, then falls. The pause is not empty. It is full of readiness. The plates breathe like this too. Some glides are so smooth they leave no memory on the surface. Others carve valleys, lift ridges, reshape coastlines. But even these changes happen slowly enough to feel gentle from within. There is no drama in deep time, only continuity. The idea of crashing plates belongs more to imagination than reality. In truth, the earth prefers cooperation. Even conflict, when it occurs, unfolds through negotiation rather than force. You rest on a planet that values gradual change. As this chapter moves toward its close, the image of the dancers softens. They remain present, but the lights dim further. Motion becomes felt rather than seen. The pause lengthens. Energy rests quietly along boundaries. Not dangerous, not urgent. Just waiting, the way breath waits when lungs are comfortably full. You feel no need to anticipate what comes next. Anticipation would only rush the moment. For now, the earth holds still within motion, motion within stillness. The dance continues even when it looks like rest. Like a held breath, you rest in the space between movements. You remain settled, but your awareness drifts downward again, as if curiosity itself has grown drowsy. The surface fades from importance, and attention slips gently beneath it. Not far, just enough. Here you find the seams. Fault lines are not cracks in a broken thing. They are places where the earth learned how to bend. Long ago, movement passed through these paths, and the planet remembered them. It keeps them softly marked, like fold lines in fabric that has been carefully stored. You imagine running a fingertip along one of these seams. There is no sharp edge, only a subtle change in texture. The earth's skin is layered, flexible in its own patient way. Where plates meet, touch, or slide past one another, these seams form naturally. They are not mistakes. They are design. Every body has places that move more easily than others. Knees, shoulders, necks turning toward comfort. The planet is no different. Faults exist because movement must go somewhere. They offer a familiar route, guiding stress gently rather than letting it wander unpredictably. The earth prefers known pathways, prefers memory. You feel reassured by that preference. Stress gathers here slowly, the way tension gathers when you hold a position just a little too long. Not painful, just noticeable if you pay attention. The earth notices without reacting. Pressure arrives grain by grain, moment by moment, never all at once. It spreads across stone, dispersing itself patiently. Nothing snaps, nothing shouts. The seam holds. Some faults lie quiet for so long they seem forgotten. But forgetting is not the same as disappearing. The earth does not erase its seams. It simply allows them to rest. You rest with them now. Warmth below keeps these seams from becoming brittle. Rock, softened over time, learns to yield just enough. It resists gently, cooperates reluctantly. That balance feels familiar. You know what it is like to hold yourself together during the day, to carry weight politely, to wait until rest allows release. The earth practices the same patience. As plates continue their slow dance, seams feel the movement first. They absorb the small adjustments, smoothing them out before anything above can notice. They are quiet workers, unseen, uncelebrated. Still, they persist. Stress does not frighten the earth. It understands stress as information, a signal, not a threat. Along these seams, pressure becomes stored awareness, a record of what has been asked and what has not yet been given. You breathe in, you breathe out. The seams breathe too in their own way. Sometimes, the earth shifts slightly along a fault without waking anyone above. A movement so small it feels like nothing at all. A sleeper turning in bed, redistributing weight. These moments pass unnoticed, doing their quiet work. Other times, the seam holds firm. Friction increases gently, like palms pressing together without urgency. Motion slows, holding deepens. This is not danger. This is preparation. Stillness, you realize, is not empty. It is full of listening. The earth listens to its own weight, its own warmth, its own long memory. It listens without impatience. You find comfort in that listening. Faults are often drawn as lines on maps, but here, beneath you, they are not lines at all. They are zones. Places wide enough to breathe, to adjust, to distribute strain kindly. Nothing here is razor thin. Nothing is fragile. You are resting on something that understands endurance. As your shoulders soften, you imagine the seams beneath you softening too. Not opening, just relaxing into their role. The earth does not fear movement. It simply chooses when. Holding tension is not failure. It is skill. The longer you remain here, the more this idea settles. The planet is not locked. It is paused. Paused like breath at the top of a sigh. That pause can last longer than a lifetime, longer than memory, but it is not permanent. Nothing in nature holds forever. You do not need to wonder when release will come. Wondering would only disturb the quiet. For now, the seams rest. Stress stays where it is, contained, familiar, manageable. The earth shifts slightly in its sleep, testing comfort, finding balance again. Above, everything feels still. Below, preparation continues. As this chapter begins to fade, you sense how calm this waiting feels. How natural. How necessary. Let your shoulders soften. Let the ground beneath you do the same. You rest inside the pause now, where nothing appears to be happening, yet everything feels quietly attentive. The stillness from before has weight, but it is a comforting weight, like a heavy blanket that settles evenly across you. Your breath moves slowly, almost lazily, as if it has learned there is no need to rush. Beneath you, the earth pauses too. This pause has a name, though it sounds firmer than it feels. It is called friction. Not conflict, not struggle, just contact. Friction is what happens when two surfaces touch and decide, politely, to wait. They do not argue. They do not resist out of fear. They simply hold each other in place for a while. The plates beneath you want to move. That desire never disappears. But friction asks them to linger, to stay connected a little longer, to feel the pressure fully before changing shape. You know this feeling well. You hold a stretch because it feels grounding. You pause at the top of a breath because it feels complete. You do not move yet, not because you cannot, but because waiting feels right. The earth mirrors you here, in this gentle hesitation. Along the seams you explored earlier, plates press together with calm persistence. Edges meet. Weight settles. Movement slows until it becomes nearly invisible. Nothing grinds. Nothing sparks. Friction here is soft, spread across wide spaces and long spans of time. It is not heat or noise. It is patience given form. The earth pauses mid-breath. That breath does not feel strained. Feels full. The planet is not holding its breath in fear, but in awareness, sensing how much it can carry comfortably. Pressure gathers, but gently, like air filling lungs without effort. There is no sharp line between ease and strain, only a gradual deepening of presence. You feel this in your own body now. The way stillness becomes richer the longer you stay with it. The way quiet reveals layers. Deep below, friction allows energy to remain where it is. Not trapped, just contained. This containment is important. Without it, motion would never slow. Nothing would have time to settle or shape itself. Mountains would not rise slowly. Valleys would not deepen patiently. The earth understands this. It values friction the way you value rest. There is something quietly humorous about how serious friction sounds compared to how gentle it behaves. The word suggests tension, maybe even irritation. But here, it acts more like a firm but kind reminder to slow down. Like a hand on your shoulder saying, "Not yet." The earth accepts this reminder gracefully. As plates press together, microscopic irregularities meet and hold. Tiny bumps and textures interlock, not forcefully, just enough. They create resistance through cooperation. You smile faintly at that idea. Even resistance can be collaborative. Time stretches again. Moments dissolve into something broader. During this pause, nothing is wasted. Energy does not disappear. It simply waits, gathering quietly, like warmth collecting beneath blankets. You rest on that warmth now. Friction allows the earth to feel itself, to sense where pressure gathers, where balance shifts, where future movement might want to go. It is a form of listening. The planet listens to its own weight. You listen too, though there is nothing specific to hear. Just the hum of presence. The distant, steady sound of being held. The longer friction holds, the more complete the pause becomes. Not heavier, just fuller. This fullness is not uncomfortable. It is familiar, like the moment before sleep deepens completely. When thoughts slow, but awareness remains soft and wide. You trust this moment. The earth does as well. Friction does not decide how long it will last. There is no schedule, no countdown. Release will come when holding no longer serves balance. Not before. This knowledge feels reassuring. Nothing is forced. Nothing is late. As pressure continues to gather, it does so evenly, spread across seams and layers that know how to share weight. No single place carries everything alone. The earth has learned distribution. It does not burden one point unnecessarily. You are reminded that your own body works the same way. Weight shifts subtly when you rest. Muscles share effort without instruction. Holding becomes sustainable when it is shared. Friction allows the earth to practice this sharing. Sometimes the pause lasts so long it feels permanent. But permanence is not part of nature's vocabulary. Only duration. The earth does not confuse the two. You do not need to predict what comes next. Prediction would only pull you out of this calm fullness. For now, the breath remains held. Not tight, not strained, just complete. This is the space where potential lives. Not as urgency, as readiness. You feel how peaceful readiness can be. Beneath you, the plates remain in contact, edges resting together like hands clasped gently. They feel each other's presence. They remain aware. Nothing is asleep here. Everything is resting. The difference matters. As this chapter begins to soften toward its end, you sense how holding contains kindness, how waiting allows care. Friction is not the enemy of movement. It is its companion. Without friction, motion would rush and lose meaning. Without pauses, change would feel chaotic. The earth understands this balance intimately. You do too, even if you have never named it before. Your breath lingers at the top, then drifts downward again. You are still resting inside the pause when something changes, though nothing announces it. There is no warning bell, no sharp signal, just a subtle shift in feeling, like the moment you realize an exhale has already begun. This is release, not an explosion, not a rupture, just motion finally continuing after waiting long enough. The earth exhales. All that patient holding, all that quiet pressure gathered along seams and boundaries, begins to move. Not angrily, not urgently, simply because it can. Release is not the opposite of rest. It is rest completing itself. You imagine breath leaving your lungs after being held gently. It does not rush out. It flows. It spreads. The earth releases energy the same way. When friction loosens its grip, plates slide just enough to change their balance. That movement sends waves outward through stone, like ripples moving across still water. They do not tear the water apart. They pass through it. These waves carry motion, not destruction. The word earthquake sounds loud, but the reality beneath you is softer than the name suggests. It is energy redistributing itself, finding a new arrangement that feels more comfortable. The earth adjusts. You feel reassured by this framing. Nothing beneath you is snapping or failing. It is shifting position the way you do when stiffness finally melts away. Release happens quickly compared to the long wait before it. But quick does not mean violent. It simply means complete. The earth does not hesitate once the moment arrives. It trusts the release. Energy moves outward in all directions, traveling through layers that know how to carry it. Rock transmits motion with surprising grace, flexing and vibrating rather than breaking apart. You imagine sound traveling through air. The air does not shatter, carries the wave. Stone behaves similarly, given enough depth and warmth. This movement feels sudden only because the waiting was so long. From the earth's perspective, it is simply the next breath. In, held. You notice how natural that rhythm feels in your own body. There is no drama in breathing, only continuation. The earth breathes on a scale that stretches imagination, but the pattern remains familiar. As energy travels outward, the source of the holding relaxes. Pressure drops. Contact softens. The seam that held so patiently now slides just enough to feel relief. This relief spreads. After the main movement passes, smaller adjustments follow, like a sleeper resettling pillows after turning over. These are not new events. They are completion. The earth finds a new resting position. You sense the kindness in this process. Nothing is punished for holding too long. Nothing is blamed for releasing. Both were necessary. Sometimes you wonder why release feels surprising when it arrives. Why it seems to come without warning. The answer rests in how quietly the earth holds itself. The signals before release are subtle, spread across wide spaces and deep layers. They do not gather into a single clear message. The earth whispers to itself constantly. So many whispers overlap that none stand out. You find this oddly comforting. The planet is not hiding information. It is simply complex, layered, and softly spoken. Release is not failure of prediction. It is the natural conclusion of patience. As waves continue to travel, they lose strength, sharing energy with everything they pass through. Nothing absorbs it all alone. Everything participates a little. This sharing protects the planet. You feel how grounded this makes you feel. Movement does not concentrate danger. It distributes change. When the earth exhales, it does not empty itself. It returns to balance. And after the release, there is rest again. Not the same rest as before. A new rest. Pressure has shifted. Memory has updated. The system settles into its next comfortable shape. You breathe out slowly now, feeling how good it is to let go when the time is right. There is no regret in the earth's movement. No sense of having waited too long or acted too quickly. Timing emerges naturally from balance. As this chapter draws toward its close, the energy of release fades into quiet adjustment. The planet relaxes. The breath finishes leaving. Stillness returns, but it is different than before. Lighter, more spacious. The earth does not tense up in anticipation of the next release. It simply continues breathing, trusting the rhythm it has followed for ages. You are carried by that trust now. Somewhere deep below, motion settles into rest once more. And in that settling, a gentle mystery remains. If release feels so natural, why can't you feel the breath coming before it leaves? You remain in the quiet after release, where everything feels settled but not empty. The earth has exhaled, and now it rests again, neither tense nor alert, just present. Your breathing stays slow, as if it has learned something important. There is no need to anticipate the next breath. It will arrive on its own. This is where the question begins to form. Not sharply, not urgently, just a soft curiosity drifting through awareness. Why does the earth not warn before it moves? The idea sounds simple, but the answer is not sharp or clean. It is layered like the planet itself. The earth is not silent. It is constantly speaking to itself through tiny motions, faint vibrations, gentle adjustments that happen all the time. The ground hums quietly with activity, a low, steady murmur beneath awareness. But these signals do not rise above one another. They overlap. They blend. They cancel and reinforce and soften each other all at once. Imagine listening to 1,000 whispers in a dark room. None of them shout. None of them pause long enough to stand alone. This is how the earth communicates. Before release, there is no single moment that says now. There is only gradual change, spread so evenly that it feels like nothing at all. Stress builds the way tension builds in a dream. You do not notice it happening. You only notice it once you wake and realize your jaw is clenched. The earth dreams deeply. Its signals move through layers of stone, each layer changing them slightly. By the time a vibration reaches the surface, it has been softened, reshaped, translated many times. Nothing arrives intact. You find comfort in this. The planet is not withholding information. It is simply vast. Science listens carefully to these whispers. Sensitive instruments rest quietly on the surface, paying attention to motions too small for bodies to feel. They listen without expectation. They record without judgment. But listening is not the same as predicting. The earth does not follow a script. It responds to balance, not to schedules. Release arrives when holding no longer serves comfort. That moment cannot be rushed or summoned. You realize how similar this is to your own body. You cannot predict exactly when you will fall asleep. You only create the conditions for rest, then allow it to happen. The earth requires the same respect. Warnings feel difficult because the system is always active. There is no clear difference between normal motion and meaningful change. Everything blends into a continuous, gentle hum. If everything whispers all the time, how do you know which whisper matters most? The earth does not answer. It simply continues. This uncertainty might sound unsettling, but as you rest with it, the feeling softens. Not knowing does not feel like danger here. It feels like humility. Some rhythms cannot be hurried. Some patterns cannot be simplified without losing their nature. The earth's movements belong to this category. You notice how calm this realization feels. There is no urgency hidden inside it. Just acceptance. The planet is not asleep in the way you are asleep. It is asleep the way oceans are asleep. Active, responsive, never fully still. Signals exist everywhere, but none are privileged. No single movement carries authority over the others. This makes warning difficult, but it also makes the system resilient. Nothing depends on one fragile sign. You breathe with this idea. Inhale gently, exhale slowly. The earth does not need to announce itself. It is not trying to surprise or deceive. It is simply following balance wherever it leads. Scientists continue listening, not because certainty is guaranteed, but because attention itself has value. Listening builds understanding, even when prediction remains elusive. Understanding does not always mean control. This thought settles warmly. You do not need to control the earth to feel supported by it. You are already being held. As this chapter nears its close, uncertainty feels less like a problem and more like a shared condition. You and the planet both move through systems too complex to fully anticipate. And yet, both of you continue breathing. Your breathing syncs with uncertainty, slow and accepting. You stay with the quiet acceptance from before, letting it settle fully into your body. Nothing needs to resolve. Nothing needs to conclude. The earth rests beneath you, breathing in its own wide rhythm. Listening begins here. Listening does not lean forward. It does not grip or strain. It simply remains open, allowing sound to arrive when it does. The earth is always speaking, but it never raises its voice. Its language moves through vibration, through tiny motions that travel gently through stone and soil. These movements are not messages meant for urgency. They are expressions of presence. Science listens to these expressions carefully, not with expectation, with patience. Instruments sit quietly on the surface, feeling for the faintest stirrings. They sense tremors too small to notice, motions that pass like sighs through the ground. Each signal is received, not interrogated. Listening here is an act of respect. You imagine someone sitting beside a sleeping friend. They do not shake them awake to ask questions. They notice breathing. They notice small shifts. They remain present without interference. This is how listening works with the earth. There is no switch that turns prediction on or off. No moment when knowing suddenly replaces uncertainty. Understanding grows slowly, layered gently like sediment settling in calm water. Each observation adds texture, not answers. The earth does not offer clear instructions. It offers patterns, repeating motions, subtle relationships between warmth, pressure, and time. Science watches these patterns the way you might watch clouds drift. You notice shape. You notice change. You do not demand direction. This approach feels soothing. Control would require sharp boundaries, clear causes, reliable outcomes. But the earth is not sharp or simple. It is rounded by time, softened by scale. Trying to control it would be like trying to command the tide with a whisper. The idea is almost sweet in its optimism. You smile faintly at the thought. Instead, listening becomes the practice. Not to predict perfectly, but to understand more deeply. To learn how the planet behaves when it is left to itself. Understanding without control feels surprisingly complete. You realize how much of your own life works this way. You listen to your body without commanding it to sleep. You notice hunger without forcing appetite. You observe emotion without demanding explanation. The earth invites the same courtesy. Monitoring becomes a form of companionship. Instruments remain attentive day and night, not waiting for something dramatic, but honoring the steady hum of motion that never stops. Every vibration matters equally. None are dismissed. This equal attention is important. If everything is listened to, nothing needs to shout. The earth does not hide information. It disperses it. Clues exist everywhere, but no single place holds the whole story. You rest with this idea. Complexity does not feel overwhelming here. It feels protective. A system so layered cannot hinge on one fragile signal. The earth is resilient because it does not simplify itself for convenience. Listening becomes a long relationship rather than a quick solution. Decades of attention reveal patterns that moments never could. Even then, certainty remains gentle and provisional. And that is enough. You sense how comforting it is to release the need for prediction. To know that safety can coexist with uncertainty. That preparedness does not require knowing exactly when or how. Awareness alone changes how you rest. The earth continues breathing, unconcerned with being understood perfectly. It does not demand interpretation. It simply moves as balance requires. Science listens not to control that movement, but to stay in conversation with it. You are part of that conversation now, not as an interpreter, as a witness. Your breathing remains slow, steady, unforced. The ground beneath you remains supportive, unchanged by attention. Listening does not alter the earth. It alters relationship. As this chapter softens toward its close, the act of listening feels complete in itself. No answers rush forward. No conclusions insist on arrival. There is comfort in this openness. Inhale curiosity, exhale expectation. You remain with the quiet, noticing how stillness feels different now. Not empty, adjusted. The earth has moved, and now it settles. After release, there is no rush to return to silence. Instead, there is a period of soft rearranging, like the moments after you shift positions in bed. A shoulder relaxes. A leg finds a better angle. Breath deepens without instruction. The planet does the same. Small movements ripple through the layers beneath you, not as new events, but as finishing touches. These gentle adjustments travel through stone the way a sigh travels through a room, fading as it goes. Nothing insists on attention. You imagine the earth smoothing itself out, redistributing weight, testing comfort. Not urgently, curiously. This is not chaos. This is care. Aftershocks, though the name sounds sharp, are simply the earth completing its motion. Like settling pillows, like tugging a blanket into place. They are quieter echoes of the main release, reminders that balance is being restored, not lost. You feel how natural this is. No movement ends abruptly. Everything tapers. The planet prefers continuity. Beneath you, layers adjust to their new positions, learning how to carry weight differently. Pressure spreads out again, becoming familiar. The seams you explored earlier relax, no longer holding as tightly. They have done their work. You rest on a world that knows how to recover. Landscapes may shift slightly, though often too subtly to notice. A hillside eases. A coastline changes its conversation with the sea. The surface responds gently, translating deep motion into quiet rearrangement. From here, nothing feels broken, only altered. The earth does not try to return to exactly what it was before. It accepts what has changed. It incorporates movement into memory. This acceptance feels important. You notice how similar this is to your own body. After stretching, you do not return to tension. You rest differently, more comfortably. The planet mirrors this wisdom. As motion settles, the internal warmth continues to flow, smoothing sharp edges, softening transitions. Rock remembers how to hold again. Friction returns, gentle and cooperative, ready for the next long pause. There is no fear in this return. The earth does not brace itself against future movement. It does not rehearse worry. It simply breathes on. You breathe with it now. Inhale slowly. Exhale fully. The rhythm feels familiar again, though slightly changed, like a melody returning in a new key. Nothing is lost. Something is gained. The planet has learned from its own movement. You sense how patience underlies everything here. No correction is rushed. No balance is forced. Time stretches kindly. This is why recovery feels possible. Because nothing demands perfection. Only comfort. As the earth settles, quiet returns to the surface. The hum of motion becomes background again, woven into normalcy. Life above continues, often unaware of the careful adjustments below. You find reassurance in that. The planet carries change without complaint. It does not announce its effort. It simply supports what rests upon it. You are supported now. The idea of movement no longer feels unsettling. It feels purposeful, restorative. Change did not interrupt balance. It renewed it. As this chapter nears its end, stillness grows deeper, richer for having been disturbed. The earth lies comfortably in its new position, content for now. There is no urgency to anticipate the next shift. That will come when it comes. For this moment, everything rests. You turn gently in sleep, finding a calmer position. You remain lying quietly, feeling the subtle rhythm beneath you. The earth continues to breathe, even now, even as you settle. This motion is slow, deep, patient. It does not rush. It does not pause for you. It simply exists with you upon it. You are alive on a living body, a body that shifts and moves in ways older than imagination. Yet it carries you gently, as though you are a thought resting on a warm breeze. Preparedness for motion does not mean tension. It does not demand alertness at every second. Preparedness here is more like respect. A quiet acknowledgement that the surface you inhabit has its own life, rhythms, and breath. This awareness becomes your companion. It is gentle. It is curious. It does not alarm. It does not demand action. You place a hand softly on your chest. Another hand rests on the ground beneath you. Feel the shared rhythm. Your breath matches the subtle movement of the plates far below. Inhale. Exhale. Connection deepens. The earth is patient enough to move and rest without hurry. It holds friction, memory, and release with equanimity. It knows how to recover. It knows how to carry change. Living on such a body requires trust. Not blind trust, but trust built from attention. You notice small signs of life in the surface around you. Trees sway without concern. Rivers adjust their course slowly, obedient to gravity and flow. Mountains persist, bending ever so slightly with pressure and time. All of this is part of a conversation. You do not control it. You listen. You respond when necessary. Mostly you rest. The earth supports without asking. It holds weight without complaint. Even the tiniest tremors have purpose. Even the largest shifts are forms of adjustment. There is comfort in this thought. You do not need to fear motion. You need only to live with awareness. Preparedness is mindfulness. It is knowing where you are, how you breathe, how your weight sits atop a world that carries history in every grain of stone. There is a subtle humor in that. The earth, massive and ancient, holds you effortlessly, and yet you spend hours worrying about it. You smile faintly at the thought. This giant breathing body is your partner, not your adversary. You feel the warmth of the ground through your palms and feet. It is the warmth of life moving beneath layers of stone. It is the warmth of time itself. You notice how small your movements are compared to the vastness below. And yet, your presence matters. Your awareness matters. You are part of this breathing, shifting system, and your gentle attention becomes part of its rhythm. Inhale slowly. Exhale fully. You feel how calm living can be when you recognize the earth's patient rhythms. There is no need for tension, only respect. No need for fear, only awareness. No need for force, only presence. You imagine walking along a path, soft soil underfoot. You notice the subtle tilts of the land. The earth responds to its own motions. Your steps adjust effortlessly. Harmony is simple when approached without struggle. The air smells faintly of stone and earth, warmed by the planet's gentle pulse. You feel it drifting softly across your skin. A subtle hum vibrates in your chest as if the ground itself were exhaling alongside you. Life above is delicate, but the foundation below is vast. It has endured longer than mountains remember. It will endure longer than you can imagine. This gives you space to rest fully, without fear of sudden upheaval. Preparedness is quiet confidence, not vigilance. Awareness is a soft friend, guiding each step and breath. The earth continues moving slowly beneath you. Sometimes the plates glide a few centimeters, barely perceptible. Sometimes friction holds the pause a little longer. Sometimes release ripples outward like waves through water. You feel connected to each of these motions. Not because you can predict them, not because you control them, simply because you are part of the same breathing system. Your chest rises with the rhythm of the planet. Your feet sink slightly into the ground, cushioned by layers of memory and rock. The hum of life under your skin and under your soles is subtle, but unmistakable. You notice how easy it is to let go here. Let go of worry, of needing to control, of expecting certainty. All that remains is trust. Trust in movement, trust in stillness, trust in the earth beneath you. The metaphor of the earth as a living, breathing body settles fully into your mind. Each inhale and exhale of your own body mirrors the vast rhythm beneath. You feel held. You feel safe. You feel part of something immense, patient, eternal. Even when motion comes again, you know how to meet it gently. Even when the planet shifts, you do not need to panic. You can rest, adjust, breathe, and continue. This is life atop a breathing planet. Not tense, not hurried, but alive, attentive, and fully present. Your awareness is quiet, steady, and complete. The earth beneath you continues to breathe in its ancient, patient rhythm. Carries mountains, rivers, trees, and you effortlessly. And as your breath drifts slowly with its pulse, you feel the calmest kind of certainty. You are held. You are supported. You are part of a world that knows how to move, rest, and recover. Place one hand on your chest, one on the ground, and feel the shared rhythm. You lie quietly, hands resting gently, chest rising and falling with your own breath. Below you, the earth continues its rhythm, slow and deep, like an endless tide. Movement has paused again, but it is not finished. It is simply resting, holding what it has learned from the last motion, storing energy patiently until the next moment arrives. There is a soft reassurance in knowing that movement is inevitable, yet not urgent. The planet does not hurry itself, and neither must you. You are part of its rhythm, but you are not tasked with commanding it. You notice your own breath, long and slow, drifting in time with the subtle hum beneath your feet. Each inhale rises, each exhale falls, echoing the patient inhalation and exhalation of the living ground. There is a softness in this rhythm, a quiet intimacy that feels ancient and tender. The earth sleeps lightly now. It seems, its faults, its plates. Everything rests with careful attention. Even in rest, the planet is alive, breathing through stone and soil, carrying all the weight of its history with calm endurance. You can feel that endurance in the gentle support beneath your body. Energy that once moved outward now returns to balance. Friction has softened again, seams have relaxed, and the next exhale is quietly gathering, like a promise that has not yet been fulfilled. This promise is not threatening. It is natural. It is simply the way life below continues to move, to breathe, to adjust. You rest in this knowledge, feeling the subtle warmth under your palms and feet, the steady pulse of a body older than imagination. There is no tension here, no fear, only gentle awareness. Your mind drifts slowly, noticing how each previous chapter of understanding, the glide of plates, the quiet seams, the holding of friction, the patient release, has layered itself within you. Each lesson folds into the next, creating a calm tapestry of comprehension and comfort. You realize that the Earth's movements are not interruptions but part of the very rhythm of life. Breathe in, breathe out, release and hold are partners. Friction and glide are partners. Stillness and motion are partners. The Earth moves with patience, but it also allows itself to release energy gracefully, softly, without drama. You mirror this rhythm. You inhale patience. You exhale understanding. You settle further into the gentle rise and fall of your own chest. Even the smallest tremors, the subtlest shifts, the tiniest vibrations, all are part of this vast dance. They remind you that balance is not static. It is something alive, adjusting quietly beneath you, and you are supported by it. The knowledge that motion will come again does not disturb you. You are not anxious. You are aware. You are patient. The Earth's next exhale waits somewhere deep, where pressure gathers softly and energy pools without urgency. It has no schedule, no calendar, no demand for attention. It is simply preparing as all living bodies prepare, in its own slow, beautiful way. You feel that same patience in your own body now. Muscles relax further. Mind softens. Thoughts drift like leaves across still water. Even uncertainty is gentle here. The future movement of the plates, the next quiet exhale, it all exists in a natural rhythm, not in panic or alarm. You do not need to anticipate. You only need to notice. The Earth does not judge its own movement. It does not call the past too long, the present too brief, or the future too uncertain. It moves as it needs to, with trust in the system it has carried for eons. And you are part of that system. A single breath, a single presence, resting atop this immense, patient body. The air around you drifts softly, warmed by the surface and carrying a faint hum from below. It brushes your skin, drifts past your face, and leaves a sensation of quiet attentiveness. The Earth is awake in its way, aware in its own ancient patience, even in moments that appear as stillness. You imagine all that has happened so far, the glides, the pauses, the friction, the release. You see how each movement folds into the next, how each exhale prepares the next inhale. There is a continuity here, a softness that threads through deep time. And now, at the edge of consciousness, you notice the soft promise of what is to come. The next quiet exhale waits, patient and unhurried. It will arrive when it arrives, and you will rest through it with gentle awareness, in rhythm with the living Earth beneath you. Your body relaxes completely. Your mind floats softly. Your awareness extends down through layers of stone, soil, and memory, until it merges with the subtle pulse of the planet itself. Inhale slowly, exhale fully. This is the final resting rhythm, the full integration of all you have witnessed. The Earth sleeps, breathes, shifts, and releases, as it always has. You are held by something immense, patient, and tender. Even the unknown feels comforting here. Even uncertainty feels natural. The next movement will arrive when it is ready. Until then, there is only breath, only presence, only trust. You settle into the Earth's pulse one last time, feeling warmth and rhythm beneath you. The hum of life continues, low and steady, infinite and reassuring. Your awareness drifts slowly, like a breath leaving the lungs, soft and complete. And now, finally, you rest on the living Earth. Inhale slowly, exhale fully, and drift into the calm embrace of its timeless rhythm.